lot of the time we actually shot with rain, because you don't see it that much on camera.
You don't?
No, it has to be an absolute downpour before it's noticeable.
The Sound of Music is famously a flawless classic. But what if I told you one of its most beloved romantic scenes was nearly wrecked by a bizarre and hilarious problem? Imagine trying to film a tender kiss only to be constantly interrupted by a ridiculous noise you can't silence. This film's serene alpine vistas and heartwarming songs hide chaos few ever heard about. What really went wrong during the making of its iconic scenes? And why did some cast members quietly resent its sugary tone? You're about to discover the hidden turmoil and secrets no one was supposed to talk about. The gazebo scene disaster. One of the most iconic moments in The Sound of Music is the romantic gazebo scene, where Maria and Captain Von Trapp confess their love beneath the soft glow of moonlight. What few know is that this tender moment almost never came together as intended. During filming, a bizarre and persistent problem kept ruining each take, turning the carefully crafted scene into a chaotic comedy. The culprit wasn't a cast member or a script issue, but the massive carbon arc lights used to simulate moonlight, machines so loud they made a flat, embarrassing noise that echoed through the set every time the actors moved closer. This unexpected noise sounded exactly like a long, wet raspberry. Imagine trying to deliver heartfelt lines only to be interrupted by what sounded like the lights themselves were mocking the scene. Christopher Plummer and Julie Andrews tried to maintain their composure, but the absurd sound made it impossible. After 20 attempts, the actors and crew would break into fits of laughter, completely unable to stay in character. Despite the mounting frustration, the studio spent thousands of dollars attempting to fix the issue, but nothing worked. The disruption was so severe that the original vision for the scene had to be scrapped entirely. Director Robert Wise made the difficult decision to abandon the bright moonlit shots and instead film the sequence in silhouette, placing Maria and the captain in front of glowing gazebo windows. This unplanned change gave the scene a dreamy, almost otherworldly quality, which audiences loved, though they never knew it was the result of a behind-the-scenes disaster. For decades, the studio strictly forbade the cast and crew from revealing what truly happened during filming, burying the story until Julie Andrews finally shared it years later. That unforeseen chaos on set was only the surface of tensions surrounding the film, especially when it came to casting and contracts. Casting controversies and contracts. Casting The Sound of Music brought its own share of twists and tension, especially for the leading roles. Julie Andrews, fresh off her Broadway success, seemed a natural choice for Maria. Yet despite her undeniable talent, Andrews was offered a flat fee of $225,000 with no royalties or box office percentage, unusual for a lead of such stature. She never saw another dime from the film's enormous success, a decision that would haunt studios as the movie grossed hundreds of millions worldwide. Meanwhile, Mary Martin, who originated the role on Broadway, earned over $8 million from the stage production's profits, highlighting the stark contrast in contracts between stage and screen. Christopher Plummer's path to playing Captain Von Trapp was no smoother. Major stars turned down the role, Sean Connery, Richard Burton, and Bing Crosby among them. When Plummer finally accepted, it was with reservations. He disliked the script's sweetness, mockingly calling it the sound of mucus behind the scenes, and initially rejecting the part several times. Plummer demanded changes. He wanted his character to have more depth, more emotional complexity, and even insisted on his own song to reveal this vulnerability. His demands led to the creation of Edelweiss, now one of the film's most beloved numbers. Yet both Andrews and Plummer shared something unusual for leads in such a landmark film. Neither received any back-end profits or royalties. Their flat contracts meant they were paid up front with no share in what would become one of Hollywood's biggest moneymakers. This financial sidelining created quiet resentments, but it was only part of the complicated relationship the actors had with the film and their characters. Behind that friction lay even deeper struggles, especially for Plummer himself. Behind Christopher Plummer's resentment. Christopher Plummer's experience on The Sound of Music was a study in contradiction. Though his performance as Captain Von Trapp is now iconic, He openly despised the film's saccharine tone, feeling it clashed with his desire for more serious, challenging roles. Plummer described the movie as overly sentimental and alienated himself from the project, calling it gooey and totally out of sync with his artistic sensibilities. This bitterness colored much of his time on set, where he often isolated himself and later admitted to drinking heavily during filming. His drinking was well known and sometimes affected his work. Remarkably, some of Plummer's most emotional scenes, including the heart-rending Edelweiss performance, were filmed while he was intoxicated. He later confessed in his memoir that he was 3 sheets to the wind during these moments. Despite this, his portrayal achieved the precise emotional depth the filmmakers wanted, revealing a complicated mixture of talent, vulnerability, and internal struggle. Adding to his frustration was the fact that Plummer did not provide all the singing for his character. High notes and demanding vocal parts, particularly in Edelweiss, were performed by Bill Lee, a professional singer who also voiced characters in Disney films. Plummer's speaking voice was used for dialogue and transitions, but the producers doubted his singing ability enough to bring in a vocal double. This choice infuriated Plummer, who saw it as an undermining of his performance, though most viewers remain unaware of the switch. It wasn't until many years later that Plummer softened, admitting the film's unexpected charm had grown on him over time. The strangeness of the behind-the-scenes tensions didn't end there, as the physical demands of filming brought risks beyond creative conflicts. Perilous filming conditions. Filming The Sound of Music in Salzburg looked like a dream come true, with its rolling hills and fairy tale castles providing the perfect backdrop. But behind the scenic beauty lay real physical dangers, especially for the young actors. One harrowing moment involved 5-year-old Kim Karath, who played Little Gretel. During the iconic boat scene where the Von Trapp children fall into the lake, Kim nearly drowned. The crew had been warned she couldn't swim, so plans were made for Julie Andrews to catch her immediately as the boat tipped. Yet when the moment came, Andrews fell backward, leaving Kim to slip underwater twice before another actor pulled her out. The incident shook everyone on set. Kim vomited from swallowing lake water and developed a lasting fear of swimming. Even Julie Andrews described it as one of the scariest moments she ever faced during filming. It was a stark reminder that the magic of the movie came with real risks. Yet this wasn't the only physical toll. To capture the breathtaking opening sequence of Maria spinning joyfully through the meadow, a helicopter hovered just 20 feet above Andrews. Each pass blasted her with powerful winds, repeatedly knocking her down. Despite being slammed into the grass 6 or 7 times, Andrews hid her discomfort, rising with the same radiant smile the camera captured. She later joked about almost being launched into Austria by those helicopter blades. These challenges painted a picture of grit behind the glamour, showing that the film's graceful exterior masked countless tough moments endured by cast and crew. Weather only added to the pressure, stretching filming well beyond its planned timeline. The relentless rains and delays in Salzburg turned production into a grueling test of patience and perseverance, pushing the project to the edge. The director's shuffle and budget worries. The challenges on set were compounded by turmoil behind the camera. William Wyler, a legendary director originally signed to helm The Sound of Music, quietly stepped away months before filming began. Wyler reportedly disliked the stage musical and felt disconnected from the story and songs, describing them as unnatural and ill-fitting. His worsening hearing aggravated the strain, making directing a demanding musical even harder. With growing doubts and little enthusiasm, he sought an escape, a break that wouldn't rattle studio confidence. Producers offered Wyler another project, The Collector, a dark psychological drama that better matched his tastes. Seizing the chance, he asked the studio to release him from the film's contract. Officially, the press was told he left due to scheduling conflicts, but insiders knew the truth. Wyler was running from a film he didn't believe in. This unexpected departure left the door open for Robert Wise, who stepped in late 1963 to take over directing duties. Wise was already known for his success with West Side Story, and the studio hoped his touch could rally the troubled project. Yet the challenges didn't end there. The initial budget of $8.2 million seemed ample but quickly strained under unexpected costs. 11 weeks on location stretched well beyond the planned 6, as weather delays and production issues burned through resources. Over 250 cast and crew members sat idle in soggy clothes, driving expenses up for accommodations, equipment, and wages. Fox was still reeling from the financial disaster of Cleopatra, and executives nervously watched every dollar. One insider whispered that this cheerful musical might be the end of the studio's recovery. Despite these risks, The Sound of Music persevered, racing toward a legacy far beyond what anyone had imagined. Even with its obstacles and secrets, this film would not just survive, it would define a generation. Legacy, beyond the lens. Despite the countless challenges and hidden dramas during production, The Sound of Music emerged as one of the most beloved films in history. Released in 1965, it stunned audiences worldwide, dethroning Gone with the Wind to become the highest-grossing film of its time. The movie sold an astonishing 283 million tickets globally. Nearly 1 in every 12 people alive then saw it. What makes this success even more remarkable is that it happened long before digital marketing or streaming platforms. Word of mouth, family outings, and glowing reviews turned it into a cultural phenomenon across languages and continents. The film's impact went far beyond box office numbers. Its soundtrack, featuring classics like My Favorite Things and Edelweiss, continues to be sung by generations. Critics who once dismissed the movie's sentimental tone were eventually compelled to recognize its artistic merit. At the Academy Awards, The Sound of Music swept 5 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. Behind the scenes, Robert Wise proved that he could strike lightning twice, following his triumph with West Side Story. The movie bridged the gap between light-hearted musical and serious cinema, earning respect as much as affection. What most viewers never knew was the depth of struggle that lay beneath the polished screen, failures, frustrations, and secrets carefully hidden for decades. From the lost stories of cast hardships to the technical disasters that shaped iconic scenes, The Sound of Music's true drama played out off-camera. Yet somehow, all these elements fused into a timeless masterpiece, proving that even the most perfect films have messy beginnings. The hidden chaos makes the film's enduring magic all the more fascinating. The Sound of Music is much more than a classic. It's a story of resilience amid unexpected setbacks. From quirky disasters to complex cast tensions, its behind-the-scenes tales reveal how imperfection can create something unforgettable. If you enjoyed uncovering these secrets, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more surprising stories from Hollywood's greatest films.